Good morning, everybody. Here we are at the beach yet again. Wonderful, beautiful sunrise. And we're here with Ayana Lahi of the Spirit Gateways Institute for another extraordinary Spirit Gateways interview. Ayana is the founder, the creative director, and the CEO, the Chief Evolutionary Officer of Spirit Gateways Institute, and we're so thrilled that we're here again. So Ayana, in many of our past inquiry sessions, we've talked about the Institute and we've talked about your work over these last many decades of finding the true self. And one of the things we talked about also was the integration or the union of love and power. But I'd love to be able to talk a little bit about power and where personal power comes from and how that power arises within you and how you claim it. So maybe you could share with us a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to share about that. The underlying themes of Spirit Gateways include finding one's true power. And your personal power is actually in its most efficient and clean form, meaning that it has no external residue, but it's a direct expression of your true power. Comes from finding your spiritual power first. It's actually in reverse. Your spiritual power is found through finding the qualities in yourself, the aspects of you that were left behind, forgotten, lost while you were growing up, and also from traumatic moments and the experience of abandoning, betraying, and rejecting yourself, that ABR that I spoke about in the other day of talking about ABR in another interview. And
just to remind the audience, ABR was what?
Abandon, betray, and reject.
And that can come both from you doing it to yourself as well as other people doing it to you, a parent, a sibling, a colleague.
Yeah, and it's something that's passed along. It's something where when someone is doing that to themselves, or they've abandoned a part of themselves, a quality in themselves, that they then are unable to, by choice, conscious choice or unconscious choice, to support another person in being able to really connect into who they are, that power in themselves. Power is one of the underlying themes in family dynamics, whether the parent is supporting the unfoldment of the child's power or they're working to repress and suppress your power. So it's really beneficial to know really what you've been through so that you can enjoy the process, the experience of refinding and reuniting with your true power. In the Spirit Gateways Institute programs, in all of them, you experience the reconnection with your true power. And your true power is found in the parts of yourself that hold the most spiritual presence and essence. And usually what happens is that if a parent or both of your parents were raised to deny their spiritual power, that they're going to raise you to also abandon, betray, or reject, to deny, to have to push down your spiritual power because it might just feel too much for your parent. Your spiritual power is the essence of who you are. It is the light of who you are. And the light of who you are on a physics level is the essence of you. It's the spark of your creation. It's the spark of your existence. So just to bridge that theme of existence in, it's a really big piece of Spirit Gateways, because most psychology systems bypass your own existence and what it feels like to really exist as yourself. Most psychology systems are thinking around the inside seed in the center of the circle, the essence of the source of the power that we are, because we've been in an age of reason for the last many centuries, and so we're thinking our way forward. In Spirit Gateways, you are being your way in the moment, which you can create your life path from being one with the source in yourself. So it's a very different experience than the wonderful work of Jung and Freud and many other breakthrough individuals along the way who've been pioneers. Like, this is like the next step in it, where you're integrating. Once you find your lost and forgotten power within a part of yourself that's in your body, because the body is the container for all feeling, and the human self is a very feeling being.
Could you explain just for a moment how you think about spiritual power and true power as contrast with the power that we see in the world that's exercised politically or financially or
Of course,
things like
of course.
or behavior?
Your true power is a direct expression of the source of the infinite intelligence that dwells in life itself. And you have to go through the veils and the layers of illusion, of the way the mind is perceiving reality when it's separate from that source. And so ideally, that's what we're taught, that's what we experience in our religious trainings and in our spiritual trainings. A lot of us have experienced techniques that take us to a place, but it doesn't necessarily teach us how to connect into that core source. The external power that we see in the world right now, where there's power over others, and there's a lot of issues of control and repression, that's a form of power that is separate from that core spark of infinite intelligence. It might appear that there's intelligence happening, but it's easy to get an idea from the cosmos and implement something that's a new invention. I mean, the astral plane is filled with ideas. So if you want ideas, they're easy to find, and that happens through opening your mind and connecting into the way your brain is working with your brilliance in your mind. What we're talking about here in Spirit Gateways is finding the power that's really in you that usually has been hurt. You've been wounded. We've all been wounded through opinions, judgments, criticisms. Maybe your true power, your spiritual power, might have been a threat to someone. Some of you might have been born to parents who have embraced your spiritual power, and that is truly a gift, and it's a karmic gift, where you're being given the opportunity to really trust yourself and blossom and really move your life forward from being connected to your spiritual power. Your spiritual power is usually revealed as love. You discover the love inside of yourself that is vivaciously alive and just vital and dynamic and expressive and creative and unlimited and filled in just that feeling of what's next? I'm here to live. I'm here to express. I'm here to engage. I feel connected to the whole. I'm not compartmentalized. So the external power that we see in the world is coming from a lot of fear of opening up to one's true spiritual power, because in your spiritual power, in that love, you're going to feel a connection with the universe. You are not separate. And it's only in feeling separate can the ego stay alive. And so for all of us to be willing to break through how we separate from our own true spiritual power and reintegrate it, embody it in its purest form. And that requires us opening into our heart, because the heart is the open door to the spiritual power. The spiritual power is developed through honoring the love that is in the essence of who we each are. And it's that true spiritual power that when we move it into the ways that we set up companies, that we create systems for our individual countries, and the love power that comes in how we approach our partners, our family, our community, our co-workers. When we're in our spiritual power, we're naturally connected into the whole. We're not naturally thinking of just our own good.
So
it's not what happens.
So I just want to ask some clarifying question. When you talk about spiritual power, you're not talking about everything being lovey-dovey and peace all the time. You're talking about internal strength to be able to go out and move things in the world and to take,
Yes.
go
Most
forward.
definitely.
Okay.
Spiritual power is where you're creating your own miracles, not by some, special manifestation technique. It's about living in oneness with who you naturally are. God is that spark of true light within us. The true light within us is our true power. And so if you deny the light because your ego loves living in the dark of itself, it's going to make sure that it's going to repress your spiritual power from emerging. And then you're in this ego true self split, which is what you break through in spirit gateways, so that you're living your life in alignment with the true power of your true self in relationship to your infinite intelligence.
So what I'm hearing you say is that true power arises from within, whereas most of the way we experience in our lives experience power, it comes from the outside, an external source. Money, politics, social structure, organizational hierarchy, all sorts of things that are imposed upon us from the outside. There's a pecking order in society, for example. So you're saying that the power that comes from within you, that connects you to the universe, that connects you to all of creation, whether you call that God or you call that universal source or universal essence, that's what you're tapping into. We can even hear the sound of the waves crashing against the beach. There's a connectivity there with that sort of power. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, your true power lives within inside of yourself, because it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. You belong to it. It came first. And the external power that's based upon, fear, the fear that is maintained through holding on to false power, is just a way to live in separation from the greater power. The greater power is the universal source that is inside of each and every one of us. And unless you move through that doorway, you can live in separation for your whole life.
So this brings us full circle to some of our earlier conversations around oneness. Right? So what you're saying, what I hear you saying, is that that internal connectivity to that pure source that exists before we were born and will be present after we die, and has been here since the creation of the universe and the multiverse, really, that power is what you're tapping into, and that power is that source of extraordinary oneness that is the goal of all of the Spirit Gateway's courses and programs.
It is. That is absolutely true. In all of the Spirit Gateway's courses and programs, trainings, mentorings, you find joy. You're able to create whatever it is you do in your life, whether you're a professional performer and you run a company, or you are an artist of any kind, you are an entrepreneur, you're a parent, you're a software engineer, you're budding forth with ideas to build a company, you own a restaurant, or you're a chef, or it's whatever, or you're a lawyer. It's whatever you do is increased in potential and magnitude, passion, and your inspiration now comes from being one in yourself. And when you can stay one in yourself, it means that you're open to that light within inside of yourself, and it brings a lot of joy. And it's from that joy that when we build our life and we build everything that we're creating on a career level, on a family level, on a community level, we're shifting gears, and poverty consciousness is really coming from, well, many things. That's a whole topic into itself. But to buy into it, the lack is being separate from the enormous abundance that is within inside of us on a source level. The need to have power through what we own, how much we're worth, is so fleeting. And it's such a huge illusion, because it has nothing to do with living in alignment with the source within ourselves. And so money and sexual energies and spiritual energies and creative energies are all tapped into, and different expressions of that one source. And once we turn the key and open that door, which is what we do in Spirit Gateways, we're opening the doors, the inner gateways, through the mysterious veils of coming home into yourself, to coming home into yourself. And our birthright is living in that union of love and power, and your power is always here. And it's up to us, each of us, if we're repressing it, pushing it down, manipulating it, trying to control others, whatever way we are doing it, because we are ultimately still repressing our own power out of fear of it being too much, not knowing how to communicate it clearly. And we have to first clear the wounds, those areas that we have been truly abandoned, betrayed, rejected, where we have felt separate, where we have been abused and controlled by false power. We have to reunite with the essence inside of our wound and become whole, so that we can have our heart available enough to our own true power, to the source within ourselves. And there's so much help and support in the universe. It's like swimming in the ocean yesterday, and all of a sudden an eagle flying overhead, and it just circling and feeling that connection and knowing there's that connection. Or the other day when the dragonfly, just came and landed on you, and it just sat there, and it created a relationship with you. Mm-hmm. The power of life is always happening around us, and we're living in a time where there is such an enormous, deep need for certain individuals and a clan, a family clan of individuals who are into gaining false power, but they think it's true power, and this has been one of the battles of humanity now for thousands of years. And I'm trying to address this for all of you to understand that this is a choice. And in Spirit Gateways, you're given the exact ways to reconnect and also the support to live in connection with your true self, because this isn't about, faking it until you make it. And this is possible to experience how to move into your true power in a real way that's right for you.
So the community that is gathering around you in Spirit Gateways in a loose way, right? The Evolutionary Empowerment Global Village that someone becomes part of just by merely subscribing to your website and your email list, right? That's the first step, because there's many free programs and offerings that you have. And then if someone wanted to take it further and really move forward with their own life in terms of understanding more of what you offer, what would be the next step? Would that be a group mentoring program? Would that be a one-on-one work? What would you suggest?
There's a lot of free offerings to immerse yourself into, and to dive into the free offerings and enjoy what you're receiving. And by joining the Tribe Transformation, the group mentoring experience, you're given deep mentoring in a group environment, and the support and the information directly from me really supports your internal process. All the video courses are super powerful that you receive in the 3 tiers of the group mentoring and the individual mentoring program. For those of you who want to dive deep and have a full one-on-one attention and intensity, the one-on-one mentoring is really a great direction to go in order to support every aspect of your life, every single aspect, from how you're making money to growing a business, being in relationship, your health improving, your spirituality growing, your awakening, and your dynamics and relationships and family really take off, like major shifts. Yeah.
So I wanted to just close with one other question, and that is, in addition to all of the audio and video courses that you've done, and the Be Light meditation programs, the practices that you teach, and the movement practices through Love to Be the Movement, aren't you also an author? Haven't you written some books?
Yes, I've written, there's, I think, 4 or 5 books on Amazon. One of them is One in Soul, and One in Soul goes directly and deeply into, the whole book is about refinding your spiritual power through reclaiming the aspects of your forgotten, lost self that are inside of you. And this is a really powerful, potent step into awakening and realizing who you truly are. Because when your life is in alignment, when your life work, your career, the way you show up in a relationship is truly real for you, and you're in alignment with who you really are, your true self, life is different. And the gap between your spiritual reality and your physicality life disappears. You are motivated to be able to live in alignment, so that you're creating a lifestyle that's whole for yourself and real and very empowered and unified with why you're here, what you came here to be. So the book One in Soul took many years to write, and it's a thick book. It's a kind of book, open it up and it'll be the perfect page that you open to. The book it's a calling to your soul, your heart. It's One in Soul, and it's on Amazon.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ayana. Thank you so much thank you so much for being here. Another beautiful morning at the beach. To everybody who's listening, if you really, really liked what Ayana has to say and what she offers through the Spirit Gateways Institute, give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate that. And of course, subscribe to her YouTube channel. And if you're really, really moved, which I would encourage you to be, please sign up on Ayana's website, ayanalahi.com, IANALAHI.com. It's very simple. Join the Evolutionary Empowerment Global Village. You'll be brought into Ayana's world and how she shares with everybody so openly and lovingly and gracefully. And we wish you a really wonderful day and have a really, really great time today, and go out and enjoy yourself and live your life fully. Ayana, thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and I send you all my love. Thanks for being here. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.